everyone. Welcome to our program, Books and Authors. I'm your host, Terry Kelly, and today we are talking to my next door neighbor, Carol Gordon Exter. She has written a book called Ruth the Sleuth and the Messy Room. It's a great book for children, but it's also pretty interesting for adults. And we'll find out why as soon as we start talking with Carol. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you, Terry. It's wonderful to be here.
It's wonderful to have an author as my neighbor, because I get to read all your books, and I get to talk to you about them and find out really what was on your mind when you wrote it and everything. So this is called Ruth the Sleuth and the Messy Room. Hard to say.
Yes,
right?
It is.
Easy to read, though.
Well, I hope it's fun to say. I think I wanted something that was fun.
It's a lot of fun to say and to read, and it's very catchy because most kids know what a sleuth is, right? And it's kind of interesting to them because there's a bit of mystery there. So this is about Ruth and her messy room. Can you tell us a little bit about Ruth's messy room? What happens at the beginning of the book?
In the beginning of the book, her mom is making chocolate chip cookies and needs her pot holder. And Ruth borrowed it, of course, for her toy oven. And the mother wants it, but is a little concerned because Ruth's room is a bit of a disaster. And she gives her the time limit of 10 minutes and says, can you find it? And Ruth goes about looking for it, but every time she's looking for it, she finds another thing that she had lost. So it's kind of, a fun discovery. And, well, I don't want to give the ending away, whether she finds it or not. But it's also a message of, look how long it took to find it when you are not organized. Of course, that little teacher in me, I can't help myself. I had to give a little message in there.
It's a great message because, she has 10 minutes to find it, and she finds other things, and the things she finds are quite fascinating. And I think we've all had that experience as a child. I know I have. My nickname, I will tell you honestly, was Messy Bessie.
Really?
Yeah, my room was messy. Yeah. And that was my nickname, Messy Bessie. But one time in school, the teacher said to me, you are quite disorganized. And I remember thinking, how does she know that I play the organ? And I ran home and said to my mother, Miss Kennedy knows that I play the organ. Did you tell her? And then, of course, I found out what disorganized meant. And so my mother said, you need to learn to be careful about where you put things, and so that you won't be looking for things and losing them. That's what disorganized means, people who can't find things and everything's a mess. And she said, and that's you. So you need to learn.
You know what I feel sad about? I feel sad that the teacher said that and called you disorganized rather than helping you. Let's help you get more organized. Because that's what I tried to do as a teacher. You want to be positive and help them, put folders in their desk and help kids, because it makes for a more joyous experience as a human if you can find things and don't waste time. We all get upset if you can't find something. You get frustrated. So, it's a good thing to help you, but I don't like what she said to you. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, I didn't understand it. I thought she meant that I played the organ. I took it as a compliment.
Okay.
And second of all, my mother explained it to me rather well. And third of all, if you had seen my desk, you wouldn't have said that what she said to me was kind.
Right.
So I decided to go around and become organized. And then I read everything I could about organization. And then I ended up teaching organizational skills. I became so organized. People make fun of me now for being organized.
No, you can't. You can't be too organized. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
It's a better life. Because
it makes things
we're not
so
wasting
easy.
Time.
Right. It makes things easy. You can always find things, and there's always a place for everything, and it's just so much better. But I love your book because Ruth, she is adorable. She is so cute, and her mother is even cute.
Well, what's interesting is I thought she was cute in my mind, but when an illustrator, I knew nothing about the illustrator. I don't get to give input. And when I saw what she looked like, I was very happy because it was a cute visual for me.
Cute.
Yes,
yeah, she's very, very cute. And I was reading about how the illustrations were done, and you did the writing, but not the illustrating. And it must be a strange thing to write a book and not know how it's going to look.
Right.
So how
you
did
have
you
to have
feel
a leap of faith. You really do. And there's nothing you could do about it because the publisher chooses the illustrator.
Yeah.
Unless you're a really renowned author, then perhaps they might give you some input. But I had no input.
Even though you're renowned.
Oh, I'm not renowned.
Yes, you are.
But no, I had no input. So I was really pleased with this.
Oh, it's beautiful. And
new
it's
illustrator.
different. It's very, very different from what you usually see. And I was reading about how the illustrations were done. There was a computer involved.
Right.
And, but it's wonderful. And your idea of the clock ticking down to 0 puts a little mystery.
I love that idea. I honestly didn't even come up with it myself. I belong to critique groups, and we share our work, and people give positive and negative, input back to you. And somebody suggested, why don't you put a clock in the bottom? And I thought that was a great idea. And so, of course, that was just an illustrator note. So maybe the illustrator wouldn't have liked that, and she didn't have to do it. I was pleased that she did do it.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea because children reading something, there's that little, will she make it or will she not make it? Don't peek at the end.
Well, I think most kids know that most things end happily. So
yeah, most things, but you
really
want
most books,
Ruth,
I should say.
Yeah, you really want Ruth to succeed,
right?
And she doesn't look as though she's going to for a lot of the book, so we won't say whether she does or not. But there's a recipe in here for chocolate chip cookies, and that is part of the story. And I made them, and they were quite good.
Were they? And I bet you were happy with it because I tried to find a healthy chocolate chip cookie.
They were healthy chocolate chip cookies.
Yes. Look at all the great messages the book has. Eat healthy, be organized.
And how to treat your friends.
Yes, that's true.
There's a message about friendship in here. We won't give that away, but that's really nice.
You always pick up great things. Yeah, I did.
Well, they're in here. They're easy to pick up.
Okay, good.
There's so much to say about the book. Some of the things she found in her room were absolutely great. So that has happened to me a few times. You're reorganizing or cleaning things up or putting things away, and all of a sudden you say, oh, look at this. So I was thinking of Ruth. Every time I find something now, I think of Ruth the Sleuth.
That's nice to hear. Because
she's finding stuff. And she's kind of a detective because she's got to find that potholder.
Yeah. I know, because an editor had once said there wasn't much of a mystery, the title. She didn't quite get the sleuth. I hope there are going to be other Ruth the Sleuth books. It's my dream to, I have another one written actually.
Oh, a series. Oh,
yeah,
how
wouldn't
great.
that be nice that she finds some other things? But the issue I realize is I hope she learns from her mistakes, but the second one that I wrote, Ruth the Sleuth and the Class Chameleon, she still has a messy desk in school. But I think she realizes the value of being organized. So I hope that works.
Oh, I think that's great that you're going to have a series. So
well, I don't know yet. We'll see.
Oh, you'll do it. You will. I know you will. I have a lot of faith in you.
Oh, thank you.
You have a lot of
the publishers have to want to buy it.
No, they will buy it because this will do well.
Well, I hope so. Well, that's what this publisher said. We have to wait to see how this one does before I'd look at more.
My students all looked at it. And they loved it.
Well,
of course, I interrupted them after a few pages because they had to do their piano lesson. But they wanted to read it later, and I said, you're done.
Oh, well, that makes me happy that they
wanted to finish it. Well, I did let them eventually. They'd come in and say, can I read the book today? What book? Ruth? Oh, yes.
Oh, good.
Of course. So I let them, and they loved it. Everyone loved it.
Oh, thank you. Because, now that I don't teach anymore, I've been retired. This is my third year that I'm retired. I taught for 35 years. When
Me too.
35, yeah. How do you like that? Well, I used to have kids to read it to, and now I don't. So, sometimes you were wonderful to tell me how kids responded to it, and I had a couple of little book signings, and I got to see the reaction, but I used to have a whole class full of kids to, read my work to and get their feedback, so I kind of miss that.
Yeah, well, on my coffee table, I should call it a tea table, really. On the coffee table in the living room, I had a grown-up, a mom, sitting there waiting for her little girl to take a piano lesson. And I have a whole bunch of books on the coffee table, and they're all about music. So when she was leaving, she said to me, oh, by the way, that was a great book. I said, oh, which one was it? The Great Composers? She said, no, Ruth the Sleuth. I said, oh, you liked it? I didn't realize it was there. It was under some books. And she said, oh, I loved it. She said, it's wonderful. And she said, I read the end of it especially. So can we talk about that a little bit? Suppose you're a mom and you have a little girl or a little boy whose room is an unholy mess. It's just a mess. What would you do?
You know, honestly, I remember my daughter was always so neat until she turned 13.
Aha.
And I remember hearing that you should pick your battles and that, you know, you shouldn't make a big deal. If a kid is good, then don't make a big deal. It's just a room. I think it's great to set limits. I think you should say, if you're going to go out to play with your friends, first you have to clean your room. But you don't want to make it something that you fight about. But I know that was not my idea. The publisher put the game in the back and the guide for parents, how to raise organized kids. And I was thrilled with that because as a teacher, I know how important it is. And I was glad she was giving parents a vehicle to help them with that issue.
Yeah.
But I still think you should play the game, you should do all that. But some kids are going to continue to be a little bit messy, and to just help them learn, because I think you learn over time, just like you learned when you were ready.
Yeah.
To keep
When I was
seeing
ready.
that, you know, modeling it for kids.
Yeah.
You know.